recently, we were talking about salespeople, particularly exhibit sales professionals. Most of the experience builders listeners, as you know, are trade show and exhibit professionals. So some of the owners and I were talking, when we were starting off selling, and most of us repped some kind of a, you know, pre-engineered exhibit system. But we were all straight commission guys and girls, and we were, if you did the right stuff, you were making money 3 months into the game, and you could make a sustainable, really a great living. So when cold calling was the primary way of doing business, we realized to be successful, it was all about your activity. If your sales activity was there in the right three areas, you just knew your sales results were going to be there, and that hits your paycheck. So for those that are fairly new to the industry, three levels of activity were how many calls a day were you making? So cold calls, developmental calls, but how many calls to businesses were you making a day? How many appointments a week were you setting? And then ultimately, how many face-to-face appointments did you have each week? It was some combination of those three, Khalil. So if a busy day on the phones was I could make 200 cold calls in a day, just whipping through directories or show books or whatever it was, I wasn't seeing very many people. But if I was able to set 6 or 8 appointments over the next few weeks to go see somebody or to invite them into a showroom, and then if I actually, I might only have 2 appointments that week to see people. If I had 6 or 8 appointments, I obviously wasn't making very many calls. So it was really about the ratio of those three things. You could set your watch by making 6-figure income if you just stayed disciplined in those three areas. So we started thinking about what it is today. And I guess the big, it's not really a spoiler alert. I think most successful sales professionals know this in our industry. We're not selling stuff anymore, right? We're not selling exhibits. Everybody's learned that the brands are looking when they participate in trade shows, exhibitions, user conferences. They're looking for some sales results of some kind, filling pipeline, generating X amount of qualified leads. Maybe it's seeing your customers and making deposits in those relationships. But all of those things are much more strategic. It takes a lot more creativity in your messaging and where and how you're meeting them and engaging with them. So, by the way, we were also, back when I started, we were all straight commission salespeople. I don't know if that exists anymore, Khalil, because it's so difficult. I've got some data that we've looked at recently about what it takes to be successful just cold calling. So Dan McLean, one of the principals at Trade Show Displays, who's a partner of ours, came from the world of the robocalls and the software that does that. And he said in our industry, the trade show exhibit sales world, it takes 600 dials to get through to 20 live people. And out of those 20 live people, typically you'll end up with 2 appointments to have some kind of a discovery call or get a pitch in. So, you think about the return on your time and the investment in the software or the tools needed to be successful at, just not sure that's the best use of our time. So surveys have shown, talking with the owners, I've shown Khalil, it's just most people are turning away from it. What's your experience with the companies you're coaching? Are you hearing any different results?
I think for most people, they're having to bring leads. We're probably in the construction space, and you're used to kind of this full life cycle salesperson who kind of manages the project as well. And more, it's those people are basically kind of spinning up their own businesses because they can kind of do almost everything. Now they don't realize how high the overhead costs are of running the business, and so sometimes they come back. But um, for the most part, you're having to divide up responsibilities a bit more, and having a purely sales focused individual and a purely project management focused individual in order to find success.
Yeah.
Um, finding a lot better luck with younger salespeople in construction that are just willing to do the grind work. Some of the older ones have kind of shifted more towards that project management side. It depends on the industry too. Like roofing is a little bit different here in my neck of the woods, at least. Just doing a lot of door knocking and stuff like that. On the remodel side, yeah, you can still find older sales
Can I
professionals, but
ask you?
it's the younger.
Can I
Yeah.
ask you the younger people that you're hearing or your clients are
Hmm.
hiring? This led to a discussion yesterday with some about a younger generation and their willingness to accept delayed gratification. So, in other words,
Hmm.
and vis-a-vis the commission type thing, and it's going to take
Hmm.
some time. I'm assuming these are more salary positions they're hiring. Is there any incentive for success if they're setting
Yeah,
appointments or making a
definitely.
sale?
Definitely incentives. I think they do. Most are getting a good base, but the incentives are everything. I think um, kind of how some people have done it in terms of like roofing, for example. They're getting paid per appointment scheduled. Uh, so these younger, they're basically telling the project manager you've been done the sales before, who doesn't want to knock doors anymore.
Yeah,
They're saying, hey, we're going to bring you really warm appointments and we just need you to close the appointment
yeah,
and then manage the project.
yeah.
But you don't need to do prospecting. You don't need to go and talk to 60 people a day or whatever it is. And so these young people, if they can get an appointment scheduled, um, then they're getting incentives based on that. And on a few of them, they have some sort of base to start, but once they're going, it's purely based on appointment. So
And I'm assuming
yeah,
that's a qualified appointment, right? There's some training that goes in to
correct.
understand what that is because
Yep.
yeah, it's funny. We still get some salespeople in our offices just to walk in off the street, and it's freight, it's accounting services, it's whatever, and they literally come in and we go, we don't have any need, and if we shut it down quickly, they're like, well, can I get a business card? And I get that they're probably being paid on how many business cards they come back with to prove they've been out, but that's not really a lead, right? That's just a business card.
No, it's not.
So
No, and I think for most people, referrals are the best customers.
yes, for sure.
And so I see a lot of the companies we are working with, we're implementing referral programs with, where it's highly incentivizing. Instead of pouring money into Google Ads, instead of pouring money into a base for a salesperson that you don't know if it's going to work or not, trying to pour money into referrals, into reviews online to try to get more business that way has been pretty helpful of just really incentivizing. I've seen huge, like the equivalent of a couple $1,000s for a referral
Yeah.
if it's going to lead to a massive remodel project.
Yeah.
Um, so those are really great things to do.